Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I'm Andy Signor, and I've been rewatching the prequels now that I've seen The Rise of Skywalker to revisit them and see, does it hold up? Do I like it more than I did, less than I did? And how does it compare now that we know the whole Skywalker Saga that they're saying is now over? How does it all play out? And this Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, is really the most important one out of all of them, I think. Really, because it affects not only the original movies we know, but it affects the sequel trilogy. There are a lot of elements in this that really are, I think, important to understand the final chapter because it's the return of the Emperor. So spoiler alert, going to spoil both Revenge of the Sith and Rise of Skywalker, so be careful. But this film is definitely seen as the best of the prequels, which I don't think is saying much. I do like Phantom Menace a little bit better than I remember, but it's still not necessary. Attack of the Clones to me is by far the worst because it's the love story that just doesn't help the history of Star Wars at all. It doesn't help anything. It's completely unbelievable. And this one is the most important chapter in that it finally shows us the motive and reasonings as to why Anakin becomes Vader. And for me, I still don't buy it. Now, multiple viewings, I've seen it again recently. I just don't believe the turn. I'll get into my feelings of it, but that's really where my biggest problem with this arises. But I will say I give this prequel props for being really ballsy compared to the other ones. It's dark. It is absolutely darker than most of the other movies. And so for that, I like this idea of seeing someone turn to the dark side. I liked it a lot, and I would have preferred that in Rise of Skywalker. Seeing Rey go dark would have been an interesting parallel. If she's really the Emperor. I mean, Anakin, who's a Skywalker, has more Emperor sort of blood and danger in him than Rey seems to, which is odd. So, again, I don't know what that says about Star Wars or if it was meant to, but the whole thing just sort of feels just not as strong as it could have. I think Anakin's plot, while the beats are there to explain everything, they definitely explain it to you very clearly. I just didn't buy it. Is where I'm at. So let's walk through it together. I can't play as many clips. I'm trying to avoid Disney just dings you and blocks the video if they have any clips, even though this is clearly fair use and commentary. So I'm going to try and show less clips or show you some quotes instead to avoid annoying soundtracks and things. So let's get to it. First up, we have the scrawl, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and usually these start with a lot of politics, but finally now, war. The Republic is crumbling under the attacks of the ruthless Sith Lord, Count Dooku. There are heroes on both sides. Evil is everywhere. In a stunning move, the fiendish droid leader, General Grievous, has swept into the Republic capital and kidnapped Chancellor Palpatine, leader of the Galactic Senate. As the separatist droid army attempts to flee the besieged capital with their valuable hostage, 2 Jedi Knights lead a desperate mission to rescue the captive Chancellor. Now, look, war. We have this new droid person, General Grievous, who I like, who comes out of nowhere, just like Count Dooku sort of came out of nowhere in the last one. There's always like sort of an extra bad guy, which is odd, but because it's supposed to be 1 of each, and then there's millions. How about how many Jedis there are in this world? And the balance is completely outweighed because there's all those younglings and the council meeting. Like, the Jedis are in full power, and so the Sith are like, whoa, dudes, shouldn't we have some say too? I know we're evil and all, but shouldn't we have something to say in this world we live in? And they're like, no, Jedis will kill you all if you do it. That interesting irony and all. Evil and good, sure, but I guess it's when it says black and white is the Emperor wanting to destroy people, yes. But I'm sure there are different people who don't agree with the Jedi's followings is all I'm saying. You know, politics is never that easy. And so, yes, good and evil is easy to sort of distinguish, but in politics, some think Democrats are evil or Republicans are evil, right? To think that everyone could follow one side, the Jedi, the separatists, or what is, I don't even remember, the Republic. I can't remember them all. It is the Republic. Anyway, the fact that one side good, others are bad, that's never going to fly. There's always difference of opinions. And so it's interesting, this sort of George Lucas Star Wars history, that's what happened. But anyway, so we're finally at war. Obviously, they kidnap the Emperor because the Emperor is trying to look like the bad guy, which is the most obvious twist in the whole movie. I still understand. And then he finally puts the cloak on and just happens to look like the holograms from earlier. I guess because he saw that. I don't know what he sees in the future. Anyway, let's not get distracted. Let's keep on the timeline. As that happens, we get another, I got a bad feeling about this. And then we get to see Anakin again, who's given those creepy eyes again to Padma. It's really creepy. Now, I will say, as I'm going through my notes, as I keep looking over the side, he is better in this movie. And Hayden Christensen does mature and delivers at least a performance in this one that I think is by far the strongest of the two. He does give some drama here. His acting is a little bit better, but the script still is not doing him any favors at all. And so he's more mature, better with showing the signs of darkness. I like all that, but it still doesn't sort of solve everything. But anyway, so this is the moment where Padma, I keep saying it wrong, drinking game if I say it wrong. I'm like dyslexic with character names. You guys keep making fun of me. Enjoy it because I'm going to keep doing it, I'm sure. Padma. Padme is I've seen the movie a lot. Sometimes you can't say it. Padme is pregnant and she's very happy about it. Oh, you're trembling. It's wonderful. Something wonderful has happened. I'm pregnant. And his reaction is sort of like, oh, like not the greatest reaction that a boyfriend should give. But this sort of sets the tone where Padma is really giving up everything to have this child. She's been like clearly as a young child killing it in the Senate, doing these amazing political moves. And now she's met this dude, and this happens in life. This is a real thing. Gives it all up for the guy, and the kind of the crappy, abusive guy. She just doesn't see it. She's lost in love, which is a sad thing, but I guess that happens. I keep saying I don't believe the love story. It's a tragic love story because I don't believe there ever really was love. You know, it's one thing if you're like really in love with the person, you fall for them. What has Anakin really done for her aside from keep telling her how beautiful she is? That's literally all he comes, complains, says she's beautiful, takes his shirt off. I guess he does that, and just keeps telling her she's beautiful. And then just they have grumpy fights, and then he complains about sand, and then they roll around in the fields, and then they're in love again. It's just a very sad love story. It is not a romantic, like, wow, what a heartbreaking love story. They were in love, and now it's tragic. No, I don't believe they are ever in love. I think they were infatuated. Clearly he was, and he's obsessed. But that happens too in life. But he's like an incel who just finally gets this hot girl and will do anything to make sure that girl doesn't leave him. And it's just creepy. It's really creepy. It doesn't make him relatable, likable. It just makes him creepy. And that's the whole movie, a lot of it, because it's all upon, I can't lose Padme. And so that whole moment here is just, it's dark. And so he reacts to sort of I'm so happy I'm pregnant. And there's this ridiculous, she's so happy, she's trying her best. And then he's, sort of trying his best to sort of react. And then you are so beautiful. There it is again. It's only because I'm so in love. No, it's because I'm so in love with you. It's just, who wrote this? All right, George Lucas. It's unbearable. All right. So don't buy it. Sorry. All right. So then we have that moment. And then we go to our shirtless moment because I pointed this out because the connections to shirtless Kylo, they, just little moment there. It's clearly shirtless hot dudes, are there. Now she talks about how I want to have the baby, and again in Naboo, and then he goes off and sort of how annoyed he is. More red flags, if you ask me, about how unhappy he is and no one's listening to him. And she sort of shrugs it all off like, no, just hug me like you did in Naboo.
So long ago when there was nothing but our love.
And she just literally, all she's just doing is like, can we go back to that moment? Can we please relive those couple days where we had our bachelor dates at Naboo? Because that's the only time we were in love because we were doing it and distracted by the world. So can we just keep reliving those moments? Because everything else is clearly bad. I can't put together that means the relationship is bad. I can only just keep remembering Naboo, and let's just keep going back to Naboo. She is so stuck in a bad relationship. It's just, again, hard to watch, and not romantic in like a love affair sort of way. So then we have our biggest moment, which comes in, which in the replay was the most important. There's two really important scenes to watch to connect it to Rise of Skywalker. And this is the first one because this is a clear callback to sort of what is important. So he's
the tragedy of
Darth Plagueis, the Wise. No. All right, so I can't play the clip. I would, but Disney won't let me. So I have pulled. This is Darth Plagueis. This is important because I didn't read the book. He's from the books. And it's a lot of information about him. But what's interesting is he's never in a movie or anything. He's just referenced. But Palpatine kills him, which they sort of allude to in the movie, obviously. But he does it right before he becomes senator, and sort of realizes, gets him drunk, apparently according to I don't even think this is canon, though, because all that EU stuff was gone. But then, just decides to kill him at the end of the day some night when he's drunk because Plagueis believes him, doesn't think he would ever turn on him, and does. And that's what happens. And then sort of he grabs the powers. So anyway, Plagueis is a character that we don't really know much about, but you can go read his book. He's made some appearances. I never made any appearances, but he's in book appearances and mentioned some other stuff. But he's just, someone talked about that's never actually seen. But this dialogue is important. He's a Sith legend, Dark Lord, so powerful and so wise he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life, is what sort of Palpatine's telling him here. He had such knowledge of the dark side, he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying. Which is just so on the nose for an exposition scene of like, well, oh, yeah, of course. He's so powerful, so wise, he could keep people from dying. And of course, Anakin peeks up and goes, what? Oh, I keep having this flashback of my wife eventually dying because no one must be putting that in my mind. No dark power could put that in my mind. It must be true. So I must do anything I can to stop that dream from potentially being a reality. Not thinking what I'm doing now and turning dark might make it become the dream. It just shows how dumb and simple. Let's not use dumb. He's so simple-minded, Anakin, the whole time, that, again, it's hard to like him or feel relatable because you're just like, dude, you don't have any brain in you? This whole time you're just letting this dark guy just feed and simmer your brain, and you can't, for once, snap out of it? I know Natalie Portman's cute. I understand you're in love with her. But come on, dude, like snap out of it. This is crazy. But this scene, the dark side of the Force, is a pathway to many abilities. Some consider to be unnatural. So that's an important part that obviously is mentioned, alluded to in Rise of Skywalker, because it's like, how did the Emperor stay alive? He gives this whole speech about he could keep the ones he cared about from dying. He could save people from death. And then, yes, this leads to this important line. How could you teach me this? Could you teach me this, please? And so that's an important sort of thing that sort of sets the tone for then why he turns dark. Because the whole reason he turns into Vader is because he's afraid of, obviously, as we know, losing Padme to death. And the Emperor knows this and keeps using that hubris and his weakness, as well as, oh, I got something on you. I know you got this weird, unrational paranoia of your wife dying, even though she's not going to. So I'm going to just keep turning that knob until you go crazy. Why would the Emperor want him on his side then if he's that crazy? I guess you could argue, well, easy to control, but he's the chosen one and he's this gullible. It's just frustrating to watch for me, at least. It wasn't like effective. All right, so then we go and we meet. This is the Darth Plagueis stuff. Then we have more scenes. This scene I liked. This scene's important. Sorry, I lost her. Oh yeah. Did I jump ahead to the wrong part? Sorry. Let me get. This is where he's complaining. Sorry, why did I?
Gonna need me on this one, Master.
Oh, this is.
I haven't been very appreciative.
This is the one moment where Anakin's sort of nice, and I feel bad for Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan just doesn't know what's going on. He's so distracted by the war that I think Ewan MacGregor does a good job, and I like him in this. And I don't blame him for being sort of clueless to this all, even though he has the Force and you'd think he would know. But he's sort of blinded by a lot of stuff that's happening. But then it's an argument of, is he a good Jedi then? Clearly not, because he can't sense all of that sort of the darkness. He doesn't feel any darkness in him, and that this is clouding his judgment and everything. It's weird, but it's almost the only relationship in the movie I do follow. The broken friendship is hard. But it shows that Obi-Wan wasn't the perfect Jedi. And I actually like that. It shows there's weaknesses. And so Anakin is clearly just simple and not a good Jedi at all. That's why he becomes so easily manipulated. But Obi-Wan sort of isn't either. Oh, Yoda and Mace Windu to an extent, but Mace Windu even cracks in this movie. Yoda's the only one who sort of is old enough to mature and really not have the emotions get in the way. Whereas, Ewan McGregor's trying to lift him up. No, I'm very proud of you, and I'm your father figure. I've trained you since a small boy. I've taught you everything I know. Just be patient. You will be a far greater Jedi than I could ever hope to be. He's humbled. Be patient, Anakin, and this works when you lift him up or do it or compliment him because he's a narcissist. You're helping, right? But Obi-Wan does it in a loving, caring, fatherly way. whereas Emperor's doing it too to his own advantage. So it's all just this chess match of who can manipulate Anakin more, and it's not clever to me. It's just very obvious the whole time, and that's why I have trouble like saying this movie's fantastic, because it's just very obvious. It's very obvious the chess pieces are moving. I felt this way when I watched it again originally, and I still feel this way. I'm just like, and when you've already seen it and you know where it's going, even now, a fourth time of watching it, it's even more frustrating because you're like, come on, dude. What? There's nothing like revealing in here. We're like, oh, man, that was a tough choice. I don't know how I would have reacted in that situation. Man, I guess I can see why he turned. Because there's certain movies like in Black Panther, Killmonger. That's a tough story. You almost feel for him, right? I don't feel for Anakin in this movie. He's kind of a bully. He's a jerk. He's impatient. There's nothing there where you're like, oh, man. If anything, I miss Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd is the kid. You're like, oh, that little small boy. And the scenes with his mom, with Shmi, you're kind of like, oh, man, where did that kid go? What a lost opportunity. This is so sad. But the Anakin character, there's no loving. From Attack of the Clones to this, Hayden Christensen, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the script and the direction's fault. Just doesn't become relatable at all. And that's where it's hard to sort of make this, I think, for me, work. So still in the rewatch, still not working for me. And so this scene where, Anakin's trying his best to sort of lift him up. It's good, but still doesn't solve the problem. And then we go next up. Anakin goes on his mission, or I'm sorry, Obi-Wan goes on his mission. And then we learned about Darth Plagueis. Oh no, sorry, I want to go to the Padme scene. Sometimes I wonder what's happening to the Jedi Order. I think this war is destroying the principles of the Republic. Have you considered that we may be on the wrong side? Here we go. I have it here. Did I? No, I guess I didn't pull it. So sorry, I don't have it on screen. But this is the scene where Padme. I'm sorry, I don't even know. I've lost track if I'm saying it right or not. But they argue sort of here it is. About arguing about politics, and Anakin's pretty basic when it comes to politics. Let's be honest. Whoever sort of is telling him something that he thinks is smart, he just sort of follows. He's a follower. He's not much of a thinker. And so they have this scene here where sometimes I wonder what's happening to the Jedi Order. I think the war is destroying the principles of the Republic. Have you ever considered that maybe we may be on the wrong side? What do you mean? What if the democracy we thought we were serving no longer exists and the Republic has become the very evil we've been fighting to destroy? What? That could happen? No, I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist. You must be the evil one if you're telling me that could be evil. How dare you think about both sides rationally? What this war represents is a failure to listen. Bravo. That's really, actually, I will say, sort of the key to all politics. You just got to listen to both sides. And then you really can sort of come to a point where you can understand both sides. You may not agree, but at least you heard it and you can be well-spoken as to why you disagree and try and talk to them and explain why you disagree. Now that you're closer to the Chancellor than anyone, please ask him to stop the fighting and let the diplomacy resume. She wants diplomacy. Anakin was fine sort of with the war. Don't ask me to do that. Make a motion in the Senate like where that kind of request belongs. And then we sort of go off and sort of you're separating. What's going on? What is this? Why aren't you nice? And then it's what's bothering you? And then again we get this part. Star wipe. No, hold me like you did in the lake of Naboo. Please, can you just hold me like you did? Why do you shut me out? Let me help you. This line is just, I promise you. Anyway, I can't find that. That's the line. Just hold me like you did by the lake on Naboo. Again, we just never can get back from that. It's that moment we were there, just like even before. It's all based on nothing more. You're so beautiful. I'm like, I want to go back to Naboo. All right, sorry, I got my point across with Naboo. But it's frustrating because they really are living in this sort of dream world, or at least Padme definitely is, but it's frustrating to watch again. All right, and then we learned about Darth Plagueis, which I just went through. And then, while everyone's sort of telling Anakin that the Emperor's evil, which is like the viewers are like, come on, Anakin, figure it out. The Emperor's clearly been evil this whole trilogy. He can't figure it out. And then finally, he does. he has a couple moments of like, finally. I like that he had that moment with Obi-Wan where he gives him, be patient, and he admits he's been arrogant. All of those things are nice signs of a character arc and changing, but they come sort of too quick, and they feel like they were written in quickly because George Lucas realized, man, Anakin's just been saying no, and he's a jerk the whole movie. So I got to write this scene with Obi-Wan where he admits he's arrogant, and just so we feel for him right before he turns. So let's have a moment where the whole movie he hasn't done anything nice, but we'll have him for a second just go apologize to Obi-Wan, so that scene later will be more effective. It's how it felt to me. And when I rewatched it, it's like, this scene is, I like it, and I feel bad for Obi-Wan, but it is sort of manipulative in that, like, it's the only moment in the whole movie you get where Anakin's being nice and sort of attempting. And it's written really closely to where the turn's about to happen. So it just feels like lazy writing. And so sure, it works a little bit, but when you go watch and remember the whole movie, it doesn't. And more of the movie is Anakin before the turn, still being a jerk, yelling at everybody, being impatient, being arrogant, all these things. So it's hard to work with him. Whereas comparing that to Rise of Skywalker, Rey is very nice. She'll listen to anybody. She'll follow anybody. They're both very simple in their politics. Whoever's in front of them and is telling them what to go will take them there. Rey hates being alone. Anakin hates being alone. They are very similar and almost feels like they should be related, even though they're not. But the rise of Rey and the rise of Anakin, similar paths, but clearly one's evil and one's not. But interestingly enough, Anakin raised by the good, and Rey, blood of the bad. So is that the duel? Is that the two things of everything we're looking at in that one? I don't know. All right. So next up, we have finally have the moment of him meeting the Emperor, and the Emperor sort of admitting that he was going to kill him. All right, so I have this scene here. Sorry, I have a dialogue here that I wanted to pull up. It didn't save up. Is this one? Unlimited power. No, we're not there. Okay, sorry. Okay. Are you going to kill me? I certainly would like to. Only through me can you achieve... Sorry, did I skip a moment? I guess I have my notes wrong. Sorry, I'm just trying to gather... We didn't meet General Grievous yet, right? No, Yipping Lizard, did that happen? Yeah, okay, that did happen. So we had to... my pace is wrong. Sorry, bear with me. Here we go. Okay, so Obi-Wan goes off with the Yipping Lizard, yip, 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 to find, and we meet General Grievous. I like General Grievous. He's interesting. I like that he has a heart and cough. Like, what does that mean? He's a cyborg. Never really addressed. I guess it does in canon, but not in the movies. At least I don't remember that being addressed. But I kind of like that. Cool character introduced, dies again. Very common for a cool character to come in out of nowhere and then just die. His spiking sabers thing is cool. So that's there. Obi-Wan goes on his mission. We have that moment. And then there's so much lightsaber dropping in this movie still. That's sort of a common theme that, oh, I dropped it. And that happens a lot in the later. Sabers dropping and then using the Force to recollect them no longer is cool anymore. We've seen it happen way too many times. Then finally, Palpatine, welcome. Palpatine has finally reveals that he is in the dark side. And Anakin's very surprised. And then, what? You are the Sith Lord. And this is sort of an important key because only through me can you achieve a power greater than any Jedi. Learn to know the dark side of the Force, and you can save your wife from certain death. What? How did you know my wife was dying? Wait a second. Are you the Sith Lord that everyone keeps warning me about? That maybe I should be asking you questions instead of blindly following you? How dare you? And then so finally, he's been a pawn this whole time, calls him. And then there's this whole moment of, are you going to kill me? I would certainly like to. And then this is my favorite thing of Palpatine's like weird death fetish. I can feel your anger, yes. It gives you focus. Kill me, please. That's a common thing that happens at the end of Jedi, here, and even at the end of Rise of Skywalker is like, please, yes, kill me to make you angrier, then make me stronger. It's again, creepy, gross. But that weird death fetish happens at the end of every trilogy. Is at the end of every trilogy, get ready to watch Palpatine like, yes, oh, please, put this around my neck and touch yourself while you kill me. It's really gross. Anyway, So he says, this is the only way to know the dark side, save Padma, and then he doesn't. He actually gives him to Mace Windu and turns him over in one of the sort of, I think, saving graces of the movie. You're like, finally, Anakin did something right. Again, written in because he needed to do something before he turns, so we feel. Otherwise, he's just been a villain the whole movie, and who cares? So there's that moment where he apologizes, and there's this moment where he finally is like, I'm going to do the right thing. And Mace Windu does that scene where he's like, finally, you've earned my trust, but stay here. Stop rushing to do everything and being so non-listening. And then what happens? Of course, he still doesn't listen. So again, more frustrating. And it's like, let's reiterate it. Let's play that scene again. You do know, don't you? Oh, if the Jedi destroy me, any chance of saving her will be lost. And he's left with his thoughts like, oh no, I can't just sit here and wait for the Jedi to do it. I gotta do it. Or otherwise Padma will die. If I don't get up immediately, Padma will die. So silly. So this scene is the most important scene in the whole movie. And I would say most of Star Wars, because this is the turn. This is the motive to why he becomes Vader. And then we send 3 other Jedis with Mace Windu. Somehow the Emperor just takes them all out, which just shows how powerful he is. But then he's not powerful enough to stop Mace Windu. Unless he was sort of faking that to get Anakin, then maybe I'd understand that. But as part of the motivation. But this next scene is crucial. So Emperor, boom, 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 kills all 3 of these. I don't even know their names, whatever. They look cool. Would have been interesting to learn them more, but we don't get to. Maybe in the Clone Wars or something. Anyway, Mace Windu is finally up there. It's going to end once and for all. I'm going to put an end to this once and for all. You can't. He must stand trial, Anakin says. He has control of the Senate, the courts. It's too dangerous to be left alive. I'm too weak. Please don't kill me. Please, please. He keeps doing please. Oh, pretty, please. Please don't kill me. I'm all wrinkly and old now. Please don't kill me. I'm too weak. It's not the Jedi way. He must live. Suddenly, you got to remember now, this is the guy who's about to kill a bunch of younglings. Oh, Jedi children. It's not the Jedi way. He must live. That's not the Jedi way. Look, I don't know why they're repeating here, but anyway, please don't. I need him. And then, no, he slices off Mace Windu's hand. Crucial moment that eventually turns him dark. But this whole scene just doesn't work for me. The action's silly, and then he shows up and the lightning bolts and all this stuff. But the turn where unlimited power, we'll get there next. All right, I think I have it here. Unlimited power. The scene where he kills them and then turns. What have I done? It just doesn't. What has he done? Why did he do it? Because he's like, no, Emperor must stand trial. I guess you could argue the Emperor's like, no, you can't. I need him to help me learn how to not have Padma die. That's what happens. So he stops Mace Windu, fine. He stupidly makes that slice, cuts off Mace's arm, and then Emperor pounces. Unlimited power! And sends him out the window, right? And then Anakin is like, oh my God, what have I done? You are fulfilling your destiny, Anakin. Become my apprentice. Learn to use the dark side of the Force. And then instantly, I will do whatever you ask. Now, is the Emperor mind controlling him? Is there Jedi powers here that have made that happen? It doesn't make sense to me. Good. Just help me save Padma's life so I can't live without her. To cheat death is the power only one has achieved. But if we work together, I know we can discover the secret. I pledge myself to your teachings. Good. The Force is strong with you, a powerful Sith you will become. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader. And then we had the theme comes in, and then thank you, my master. And then listen to this. Rise. That's the moment we heard in the trailers, and hence the title, Rise. Oh, someone was like, Chris Terrio or probably JJ was sitting in that room like, oh, what if it's Rise of the Skywalker, in paralleling, because twos, whatever, stupid. But there it was, Rise, that's what happened. That's sort of the callback to then the next one. And then he is told to go kill all the younglings. So literally, that's it. He kills Mace Windu, which one could maybe forgive and say, you didn't kill him. You just chopped his arm off, and then Palpatine threw him out the window. But no, it's like, someone who hits somebody with their car, and then you're like, oh, I got to run. I'm going to go to jail. Whereas if it had been an accident and you just had told the cops, way better off than ditching the crime scene, because then you're going to jail. And this is sort of maybe what Anakin's feeling. He's just guilty feeling, and now he's stuck in the hole. But then he goes and kills the younglings? I don't know, man. Why? He gives them this excuse of, to be my apprentice, I will learn to use the dark side of the Force. I will do whatever you tell me to do. But this sort of, he must learn that you must do everything I say to like learn the dark side in order to become the evilist to learn it, is what sort of is justified. And he never questions it. He goes and he just murders children. And so dark, wow, bravo Star Wars for going there. But why? Did we need to go there? Really? Do we believe this character turn? Because that's the turn. The turn is there. That's the turn when he kills Mace Windu and then goes to kill the younglings and is finally sort of, I pledge to you my master. That's it. That's the turn of where he becomes Vader. He's literally now Vader. And I don't buy it. Do you really buy it? And not you really buy, I understand he wants to have Padma, but is there some mind control happening because he's no longer as bright? Is that what we're missing? The Emperor's been like just playing him the whole time? Maybe. Which then it's not really a fun story if he's under mind control, right? A good character should have his own choices and make that arc on his own, and he doesn't. So I pledge myself to your teachings. The Force is strong with you. Show no mercy. Only then will you have what it takes to save Padma. That's literally that's the line. Show no mercy, and then you'll have what it takes to save Padma. Then we have Execute 66, which is kind of an interesting dark moment as well, where everyone just dies, and he turns on everybody, and a couple of them escape, and it just again shows how many Jedi there were, and then how many aren't supposed to be one of each balance in the Force. Shouldn't there be equal evil to good? Does that mean now that we've eradicated the Emperor and we have Rey, and do we need Siths to then come back? The whole balance of the Force is sort of used as an argument of like, well, no, it's because of the balance. See, it all makes sense because of the balance. But weren't the Sith far out balanced? So the balance, do you need to have evil in order to have good? I don't understand the balance. So let's talk about it in the comments down below. Don't call me an idiot. Look, I'm watching these as a casual Star Wars fan, but more than casual. I know enough about Star Wars, but I haven't read the books, and I'm sorry I don't know how to say Padma's name perfectly, but I still like these movies, and I know enough. There's a lot of me like out there that aren't obsessed, so don't be mean. Educate me. Let's talk about it. How does the balance of the Force actually work if there's so many Jedi and there's only a few Sith? And now with the Jedi, the Sith wiped out, and now there's only Jedi. Did that bring balance to the Force? I don't follow it. Or because she showed her yellow lightsaber out of nowhere for no reason at the end. Here, my last moment is going to be putting on my yellow lightsaber to show how cool it is, so we can sell more. Talking about Rey at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Does that just shows now she's in the middle? She's the gray order? Is that what's happening? Middle ground instead of the high ground? Get it? That's my show. All right. I don't know. I need someone to school me because I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It all feels rushed. It all just feels rushed. Just like Rise of Skywalker, even this one feels rushed. Even though the pacing in this one is definitely slower and I think better, it's still the moments feel too rushed. And the script and the acting are not as up on par enough to do it. They should have had probably the turn happen in 2, Attack of the Clones, and they should have made that love story more believable in 1. And that way we would have had it. If 1 was a love story starting and he was a little older and we believed that they were already in love in 1, and then 2 was, okay, the love is still growing and they're falling for each other, and then he has to make a turn that he regrets, something he done. He kills the Tusken Raiders or whatever. Tusken Raiders. What are they called? Anyway, the woo guys. Yeah, didn't I get that right? Anyway, he kills them, and that's sort of the turn of when I killed all the mothers, the children. I didn't care. I killed them slaughtered them like animals. They gave us that moment, but I almost wanted something else. Like he sort of is against the Jedi. Does the small Windu-esque moment to sort of let it grow, and then he feels remorse for it, but then it comes back again. I feel like that. The balance of the good and evil could have been better organized throughout these 3 movies to make this arc and this turn more believable that he's going to kill children, because he literally does it like that. And that's pretty extreme. I'm not saying, I don't want to see that. I didn't. It's not nice, but movies can go there if you give me a reason to it. And I don't believe it did. It all felt rushed. Even like the Senate, everyone applauding the Emperor when he comes out and said, the Jedi did this to me. There's no one else on those seats that is like, wait a second, what? What's been going on? Is he tricking us? Just everyone in the whole galaxy is dumb and just buys into it. It's a lot to ask for. It's very rushed and sort of thrown. So then we have the watching the security footage tape, which apparently happens too. Apparently we can just watch everything, which is good to know. Weird didn't use that trick later in the movie or at any other point to play back things. But then we learn, oh no, Anakin, Obi-Wan then finally does sort of need to see that to realize, hey, Anakin is gone dark, real dark. And it's weird that Obi-Wan didn't feel that, but it's the one storyline I sort of do enjoy. The betrayal of Obi-Wan. even more than Padma. That one's sort of sadder because you're like, damn, that's sad. Obi-Wan's been really trying to like help this kid, and he already lost his apprentice. It's a tragic story for Obi-Wan. And then when we meet Obi-Wan in New Hope, doesn't hold up, and we'll talk about that later. But anyway, that's what happens. And then we have this moment where he sort of talks to Padma and says like, oh my gosh, how could you? I heard from Obi-Wan you've been doing terrible things. He said you turned to the dark side, and he's just jealous of him. We have this whole scene sort of in here. What are you talking about? He cares about us. You killed younglings? Obi-Wan is trying to turn you against me. He cares about us. Us. He knows. He wants to help you, Anakin. All I want is your love. Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that. He's so dumb. At what cost? You're a good person. Don't do this. She's trying so hard, and Natalie Portman gives it her all in this scene. I give her props. She's a fantastic actress, and that helps. I won't lose you the way I lost your mother. I lost my mother. I've become more powerful than any Jedi has ever dreamed of, and I'm doing it for you, to protect you. He's feeling, I guess, the anger every time he's killing these that's putting him over the edge. But then it's like, why does he still care about her? If he's going so dark, shouldn't he be like, this is bigger than you now. Screw you. You know what? You can die. Almost would have been cooler. Instead, it's like, it's just weird. If he really loves her and there's still good in him, he has no rationale mind at all. It doesn't make sense. I won't lose you the way I lost my mother. Because I'm more powerful than anything a Jedi has ever dreamed of, and I'm doing it for you, to protect you. Come away with me. Help me raise our child on Naboo. No. Leave everything else behind while we still can. She's trying. She loves him. But I think in this instance, it's not even about love. It's like, dude, we're having kids. You're my baby daddy. Whether I want you to be or not, I don't like seeing you, because I'm a good person. I'm Padme. I'm a good person. I don't like seeing you having this problem. You're going through some dark stuff. Let me try and help. I feel that more here than anything. Don't you see? We don't have to run away anymore. I have brought peace to the Republic. I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him. And together you and I can rule the galaxy, make things the way we want them to be. So this is interesting. Was this all a trick? Was he just sort of doing Kylo Ren and Snoke, where he was just, that was the plan. I'm just following you to then overthrow you, which would make sense because that's what Palpatine did to what's his name? The guy who cheated death, Plagueis. So he's, again, patterns, history, repeating itself. Interesting, but then he doesn't. Vader sort of stays pretty loyal to him until obviously Jedi, and it sort of feels like a sharp turn again because Luke tells him to. Does the dark side of the Force just sort of make you blind and a zombie to follow the lead? What could you argue that the Jedi are doing the same thing? I don't know. I feel like they have their own mind. They make up their own minds. Anyway, let's keep this reading. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Obi-Wan was right. You've changed. And then that gives him jealousy, which I can believe that turn. I don't want to hear about Obi-Wan. Are you sleeping with him? Do you love him more than me? Because Anakin's always been that crazy. That's not the dark side. That's just Anakin and his crazy bills. Jedi turned against me. Don't you turn against me. I don't know you anymore, Anakin. You're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. Again, this scene I will give props. Again, Natalie Portman sells it. She does a really good job. You're breaking my heart. You feel it at that moment, and I don't believe the love story end of it, but because of her performance, you do feel a little for her. You're like, oh man, you got kids? You got this guy's kids? Oh, that sucks. Because of Obi-Wan, and then Anakin just becomes, no, dude, Anakin. Like, Anakin, my God, get some sense into you. Everything you do is stupid. Everything you've said is stupid. Like, come on. It's hard to feel for you at all because all you're doing is stupid stuff. Like, get your S together. And then because I want what you've done, what you plan to do, stop now, come back. I love you. And then Obi-Wan, liar, because she didn't know Obi-Wan was in the ship. That's an interesting turn. I believe him angry then. Like, oh, you've been sleeping with Obi-Wan in there. That's what's going on? Oh, I'm going to kill you both. No, you're with him. You brought him here to kill me. And then he chokes her. Like, oh my God, dark. And I actually liked that because it just showed he's gone. He's far gone. He's now the one he loved, which I even suggested they should have done sooner. He does it. He's like, you know what? Forget this. I'm greater than you. But he does it out of jealousy instead of power. And that's the jealousy makes him so weak. All this jealous rage he has doesn't make him a cool villain. It makes him, you're just like, dude, you're so insecure. You don't know nothing about yourself. Like, be confident, man. Be a cool badass. And he's not at all. He's just a complete wuss. And that doesn't make him strong, in my opinion. Relatable, sure. I guess we've all been there. We've all felt jealous. But it's just to an extreme degree where you're like, you're crazy, dude. Anyway, that happens. Let her go. You turned her against me. You have done that yourself. You will not take her from me. Your anger and your lust for power have already done that. You've allowed this Dark Lord to twist your mind until now. Until now, you've been the very thing you swore to destroy. Don't lecture me, Obi-Wan. I see through the lies of the Jedi. I do not fear the dark side as you do. I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire. Your new empire? Don't make me kill you. Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy. And then this is important. I want to play this clip.
Make me kill you.
I got to talk over the odd music.
My allegiance is
sorry,
to the
Republic.
to democracy.
And
If you're
not with me, then you're my enemy. That couldn't be said any better. And this line, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Oh, that line describes Star Wars fandom, describes politics. That is a brilliant line. I love it. And it makes Obi-Wan finally like, all right, Obi-Wan is legit. Because he sees the world clearer, right? He's the way you hope a Jedi would. And Anakin can. He's just so young and immature, jealous, insecure, all these things. That when does he learn all that? He just was following the Emperor around as Vader, just angry. And you realize, oh, he's just like this abusive, jerky, jealous guy under that helmet. It does ruin it for me. It does. Now, this scene's interesting. And I agree. Obi-Wan's doing his best. That's why I like Obi-Wan in this movie, and I like Ewan MacGregor. That dialogue, it's really trying to sell you on why the turn happened and the motive. And this is the part I do like. It's the one moment where you're like, oh man, these brothers, what happened? No, just talk. The dark side's confusing you, Anakin. But is it? Or is Anakin just a dick? Like, what's going on? I can't figure it out. And it feels more like Anakin is just not that smart or nice of a guy. And we're just disappointed that he wasn't. But I don't feel like the heartbreak that I wish I did with this turn. It's hard to like turn a guy this evil and give him motivation. Aside from this girl he's just choking, the dark side is crazy. But it almost would be nicer to know the Emperor was pulling the strings, and we had seen Anakin be even nicer in previous moments to really feel for it. Because you never really see Anakin do any good. He's always has his hubris. He's always sort of cocky and complaining. The only time we see it was like him as a kid. And if they'd figured out a way to almost use that, okay, fine, you cast this kid. Remind me. I almost want to see a flashback of like a cool moment from family. Like, oh man, that poor kid who lost his mom, who just wanted to get out and be a Jedi. Look what we've lost. And none of it works. Even when you watch all three, it's so far gone. They feel completely like different movies. I don't feel for him. And that's the problem I have with Revenge of the Sith. And it's the similar problem I have with Rey in Rise of Skywalker. Same problems of the motivation just isn't there. It feels rushed. Just to tell the story, and it doesn't work for me. Again, it's better than the other two. I will say this one's better than the other two as the prequels go, but I still think it's a bummer. It doesn't fully deliver the way I hoped it would. And so anyway, we have the big moment. I can't not reveal this, but we have, it's over. I have the high ground. And then we have, he's still the hubris in him. Of course, you underestimate my power. And he's gone full dark side with the raccoon eyes there. And don't try it, because we all know anybody who has the higher ground can just kill people, I guess. But he's trying to flip over him. Why don't you just flip next to him? Anyway, the whole thing still is weird. And then it's like, oh, that's how he became Vader. He's there. But so anyway, this whole scene also very touching. This scene bothers me from a standpoint of you feel for him. You were supposed to be the chosen one. This whole scene here is really sad. And it's a bummer that it doesn't, come out the way Obi-Wan thinks it was. You were the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. And then Anakin, I hate you. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. It's sad. It's sad for Obi-Wan, not for Anakin, right? And then, he leaves so much that Obi-Wan's like, duh, I forget this, and leaves him there to burn and die. It's all out of character, but it's sort of like, well, I have to leave him there because he's going to turn into Vader. So I have to walk away. But I don't think Obi-Wan would have. I don't think Obi-Wan would have turned on him there. It's another unbelievable part of this where, do you really buy it? You believe Obi-Wan's like, I give up finally. You know what? Now you're like a limbless thing. I'm going to just leave you to die. Or maybe the Emperor will find you and turn everything bad. Where I could have just gotten you. And I mean, it's hard I don't know how you would have put him through any detox that would have made him even more angry about life when he lost all his limbs and stuff. And so it makes sense then, I guess, why he's Vader, because he's just overcompensating for everything. He's just angry his whole life. And then that turn with Luke should be more effective later, but at some point I'll watch that sequels with you as well. Anyway, that moment is as effective as one can get in these scenes, but still not perfect. And then we have one of the most eye-rolling scenes in the whole movie. Again, they've sent Padme, who is this badass senator, really awesome, even fighting, and she's just like, I love him too much. Medically, she's completely healthy. We don't know what's wrong with her. For reasons we cannot explain, we are losing her. What? She's dying? We don't know why. She has lost the will to live. Oh my God. That is ridiculous. She's having babies, guys. That is written so unrealistically and stupidly. So she's lost the way to live for her abusive dude who turned, and she can't, like, what's going to happen to her 2 kids? Like, I don't know. I don't buy it. She's too strong of a character to be written out this way. This was bad writing. It's unfair to her. It's just disrespectful. It's just lazy. Oh, no, she has to die so Luke and Leia can go given to Owen and Aunt Beru. You know what I say to that? You know what I say to that? Look at this awkward pulling out. This is this. I'm learning. I gotta walk on these new legs, so it just looks stupid. Yes. It's all coming to plan. Oh. That's the review of this movie. Sorry. No, indeed. Doesn't work for me. And then we have learning that Qui-Gon, Yoda tells him that Qui-Gon has now returned from the netherworld. He can now commune with you, and I'll teach you how to see it. Apparently, you have to be taught how to see Force ghosts. So says Yoda at the end of the movie. Well, maybe that's why Rey only heard them. Or no, she sees Luke. So maybe Leia taught her. We didn't see that part. But anyway, that part was weird. You have to learn how to see the Force ghosts. Didn't he sort of show up in Last Jedi? I have no idea how the Force works. I was going to do a supercut of sort of all the uses of the Force. So many of them I just didn't have time. But the Force makes no sense now. Even after watching all of them, and I don't understand the Force. And the fact that I have to go read, extra books to learn the Force, I don't get it. It's too much. So overall, this movie, better than the other 2. It's trying its best. It delivers what we've been wanting out of these 3 movies, is to see why he turned to Darth Vader. But personally, I don't buy the turn. It all feels very rushed. And then at the end, the beats sort of happen because they have to happen to justify the movies they already made. And it doesn't feel like it actually adds to the plots. It just shows you some stuff. You're like, that's not that cool. But it also just sort of reiterates, like, Star Wars has had problems this whole time. So I don't fully get it. I don't know why I'm so obsessed about Rise of Skywalker. When you go back and rewatch these prequels, everything sort of has faults. Everything has problems. And so, yes, I give this one a little better. I'll give this one a 6 out of 10 just because it's ballsy. And so, yeah, my rankings for the prequels now would be I like Revenge of the Sith, and then I'd put Phantom Menace, and then I'd put Attack of the Clones. Where they compare to the rest of Star Wars, TBD. We'll see as we get to it. Well, there you have it. I watched all 3 prequels. Did it so you didn't have to, or if I inspired you to, come on back, hit down some comments down below to tell us what you think. Add some comments. I'll get in there once in a while to chime in with you. I love the discussions that are happening. Just be nice to everybody. We're not all massive, super crazy Star Wars fans that know everything. I'm trying my best, and I appreciate any education you give me on some of the stuff I didn't know or any theories you got. Let's talk about it. Maybe you can change my mind. Hit me up down below or on social media at Andy Signor. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe or join. I may do more of these rewatches for members of the channel. So if you hit join, you can see more longer form movies like this. So thanks again for watching. Have an awesome week, everybody, and I'll be back with more content soon. Bye.